In this episode, we're going to talk about the strange history of the electric unicycle. Why this $3,000 high-performance wheel, literally called a monster from Gateway, is technically a cheap knockoff. And why the original inventor of the personal transportation segment, Segway, may want out of the business, and finally why you may never be able to buy one of these, the Ninebot Z10, in the US of A, where it was originally invented. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and hit that like button. So if it's not already abundantly clear from the low production value of my video, I am not affiliated with Ninebot, Segway, or any other electric unicycle company in any way. And the information I'm going to present in the following videos are purely based on personal research and does not represent opinion statement or any official information from any of the electric unicycle manufacturers. So attorneys, please stay away. I have no money for you to sue. And for those of you who might not be familiar with it, this is an electric unicycle. It is an evolution on the original Segway transporter concept, and yes, it is a whole lot of fun and you should totally get one, like right now. So I bought my Z10 late last year and I've been riding and loving it for the last few months, despite the pretty harsh winter we have here in New York City. And like some of the other things I get a little bit obsessed with, there's an active community online called the EUC forum where nerds like me endlessly talk about the electric unicycle like the Z10. And we noticed that there was an extremely limited supply of Z10 in the US. What was initially described as a production challenge somehow turned into Ninebot terminating its deal with its exclusive US dealer, Ewheel.
This is Sparta!
And that left us all scratching our head. I mean, the Ninebot Z10 was an attractive and sought after wheels, and Ninebot spent 2 to 3 years developing this wheel. Why is it that so shortly after its introduction, Ninebot decided to stop selling the wheel in the US entirely? And of course, none of the parties involved would speak up in the fear of jeopardizing existing relationship, so that basically left us only to speculate exactly what happened. Not only that, on a recent trip to Taiwan, I was told by a dealer that a Ninebot rep had mentioned that they have halted further development of electric unicycle. Curious, since Ninebot had purchased and merged with Segway only 3 years prior in 2015, who, if you remember, was the original inventor of the personal self-balanced vehicle. So that made Ninebot technically the keeper of the flame for personal electric vehicles, so why are they now trying to get out? And on the same Taiwan trip, I had visited a retailer called Ryder that sells personal electric vehicle, including electric unicycle, and I had talked about how I love the experience of being able to walk into a store. So relative to other consumer electronics, electric unicycle is certainly on the more expensive side of things, even compared to electric skateboards. A higher-end electric unicycle could easily cost upward of $2,000 to $3,000. Now, if you think about the type of retail experience usually associated with a product in that price range, you would think service from professional and smart-looking hipster at an ultra-modern prime retail location like this, or perhaps something a little bit more aristocratic and exclusive like one of these retail boutiques here in Soho. But instead we're left either to scavenge on the internet to import these devices ourselves illegally, or to endure a long pre-order wait on what inevitably always seems to be an extremely limited quantities of stocks from unofficial dealers.
Please, sir, I want some more.
Part of it has to do with its tiny market share, and part of it has to do with the fact that none of the electric unicycle manufacturers actually has a presence here in the US except for InMotion. So you have a revolutionary and well-loved product that was invented here in the US, However, most of the manufacturer that's currently in the business of producing said product either wants to get out or wants to have nothing to do with the US market. Why is that?
The answer lies with the history of the electric unicycle. Although the self-balanced personal transporter was invented by Segway and Dean Kamen in 2001, the electric unicycle was actually invented by Shan Chen, the founder of Inventus, since he was awarded the patent for it in 2011.
And unsurprisingly, Inventus has been actively going after and suing the few other companies in the business of producing electric unicycle to assert their patent right, which is, I guess, to be expected. However, unfortunately, what they haven't been doing is to pour further research into the electric unicycle technology or to even release further iteration of their product. And in 2017, Inventus reached out and struck a deal with InMotion for distribution right for electric unicycle here in the US. And it's also through this deal that we're able to get a glimpse of the type of demands Inventus made of their partners.
As detailed in a blog post from Bob Yan of InMotion, posted in April of last year, the initial term of that agreement involved demands to rebrand all InMotion products sold in the US as Solo Wheel and nearly doubling all their prices.
And of course, I'm not privy to the detail of their deals, so can only speculate. However, I do have to say that those don't really sound like very friendly terms. It's one thing to ask for a cut of the revenue, it is quite another to demand that your partner rebrand all of their product, which I'm sure they spend a lot of effort in developing, and sell it under your brand and jack up the price at the same time. Which might be reason why neither Kingsong nor Gotway, two of the leading electric unicycle producer, have shown very little interest in signing a deal with Inventus so far. And without a deal, neither company can legally sell their product here in the US. Not only that, technically, according to the US Patent Office, they're both producing knockoff of a 10-year-old product, despite the fact that their wheel is now far more advanced than the original Solo wheel from Inventus.
But in 2015, Inventus went after the wrong guy when they not only sued Ninebot, but had their product impounded at the port. What was different was that Ninebot had the backing of the giant Chinese phone conglomerate Xiaomi. In response, they bought and merged with Segway and flushed with all of their patent on self-balancing technology, they counter-sued Inventus.
The result of their suit was not at all clear, as I was unable to find any information on it. So I can only speculate that, perhaps they had settled out of court. But the question is, what is it that they settled on? So the Inventus and InMotion deal came after their lawsuit with Ninebot, so it seems reasonable to assume that they had retained the right to enforce their patent. As for Ninebots, the words on the street are that they're getting out of the electric unicycle business altogether to focus on the production of their electric scooters. With the explosion of scooter sharing services in 2018, and with Ninebot providing a large portion of said electric scooters that's being used by Line and Bird, it makes sense for them to focus on a larger market segment that is likely also a lot more profitable for them. So that's where it left us. The two companies that actually owns intellectual properties on the electric unicycle is either getting out of the business altogether or hasn't made a new product in years, which absolutely sucks for us. But how is this relevant to anyone outside of the tiny subset of people like us who are electric unicycle enthusiasts?
Well, imagine if Apple had stopped at the very first iPhone and never released an update.
And this is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like.
And only live off of enforcing its various patents for the last 10 years. Now imagine that Chinese phone companies who are outside of US patent jurisdiction had picked up where Apple had left off and had been pushing the technology forward and making new and more powerful phones that can't even be sold here in the US. All the while we are stuck on this, the original iPhone, as the only available legal options here in the US. Now that sounds like an insane scenario. However, keep in mind that Android, which accounts for 88% of the market share currently in the world, suffered the same accusation of infringement from Apple during the early day of smartphone development.
And I suspect that this is not a unique story when it comes to technology and patents. And the question becomes, if you're someone who aren't just interested in carving out a little fiefdom for yourself, but rather you want to invent revolutionary technology and build the next billion-dollar company that will make a dent in the universe, does it still make sense to innovate here in the US?
I hope you enjoy the videos, and as mentioned, this is all based on public information. If you know something I don't, or if you are one of the parties involved and want to straighten up the record, I'd love to hear from you. I'm also looking for ideas for my next video. Help me out and let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and as always, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you.